Hey everyone, Maestro here. I am the football enthusiast, and this is the player comparison. This is the series where I kind of put two players head to head and give my opinion on who I would prefer in my team. So today, it's kind of spurred on by a recent headline. Harry Kane has officially become England's top goal scorer, and he eclipsed Wayne Rooney, spurred past Wayne Rooney, and it's pushed forward this discussion that I've seen on social media. I thought we could have here today about who would you rather have, Wayne Rooney or Harry Kane? And I thought, you know what, that would be a good topic, and we can talk about it today. Now, when I feel like the consensus from the public is, I'd say 50% would take Rooney straight away. 30% would go for Kane straight away, and the final 20% just kind of torn. But I do feel like the consensus is people would take Rooney over Harry Kane, and I want to give my thoughts on that. Now, before I give my thoughts on that discussion and kind of give you my opinion, I do want to first go through the statistics in general, and we can go from there. Now, of course, statistics, we all know it's not the full story. There's so much more to it, so much more to who really is the better player. But you could argue statistics are probably the best teller when it comes to strikers. But at the same time, Rooney wasn't always a striker. He was a different type, and also at times, especially in the later stages of his career, played in the midfield. So there is that. But let's go through the comparisons. Now, right here, what you can see here is this is them at club level, and only club level. So we have 773 games played for Wayne Rooney, scoring 321 goals with 147 assists. That's 450 goals and assists in 773 games. That's very impressive. Now, what we have over here, Harry Kane is right below him. 552 games, so significantly less. Of course, he's still playing right now, but 9 more goals, 330 goals with 70 assists. Wayne Rooney has more than double his assists with 400 goals and assists in 552 games. Now, of course, what we need to understand is, firstly, Kane's career is not finished. He's not done. His story isn't written. Rooney's is. It's done. There's nothing more he can do to add to that. He's retired. And also, one more other thing we need to understand is that Wayne Rooney wasn't always a forward. He wasn't always a striker. Now, I would say about 100% the very huge bulk of his career was as a striker, of course, but he did have that spell as a midfielder. And Harry Kane himself does have certain duties that he puts upon himself, where he does come deep every now and then, but it doesn't matter. So this is the statistics. Now, the statistics here will tell you that Kane is the much better goal scorer. Rooney is the much better provider. That's kind of what it screams out to you. And I think that's accurate. Look, I do think as a pure goal scorer, I do think Kane is in fact better than Rooney. When it comes to providing, when it comes to the playmaker role, I think Rooney is significantly better than Kane. I think the gap between Rooney, when it comes to goal scoring, the gap between Kane and Rooney is very small. But when it comes to the playmaking side of it, I believe the gap between Rooney and Kane is monumental. I think Rooney is a much better playmaker, and I do know that a lot of people have this opinion that Kane is in fact a great playmaker. He comes deep for England, and he passes it well, and has those Messi-esque moments, if you will, of this player that comes in deep and has the play run through him, and he creates opportunities. Now, I don't see that. I've heard it a lot. I don't personally believe that's true. When I watch him play, I don't get that from him. I think I do see him come deep. I don't see him doing much with it. To the point where he can be called a world-class playmaker, essentially. And that's what sometimes you hear from the English press. So there's that. But that's the statistics right there. Now, another thing that people always draw to when it comes to comparisons, it's not just the numbers on the pitch. It's the trophies. It's the accolades they won. Now, of course, it's not Uh, we all know. Look, let's go for Rooney's trophy cabinet first. So, 5-time Premier League champion. 5. That's incredible. Champions League winner in the 08 season. And his individual accolades include the 09-10 Premier League Player of the Season, PFA Player of the Season, and the Football Rise Association Footballer of the Year. And there is that 2011 FIFA World 11 appearance too. So he has a trophy cabinet that anyone would be proud of. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a cabinet of a legend, and it just spells greatness right here. Now, it's not a mystery. We all know what's coming. Harry Kane. So if you see, usually on this website, Football Reference, great website by the way, it shows the players' accolades here normally. And when I first came on to this site, I saw nothing. I'm like, that can't be true. I know he hasn't won any trophies as a team, but individual awards, no, he's won a few, surely. And yeah, no, he hasn't. Actually, he won the 2014-2015 PFA Young Player of the Year, but that doesn't seem to count as a major individual trophy, and rightly so. It's the Young Player of the Year. It's like the Golden Boy Award. No one really cares. But I also thought he must have won PFA Player of the Year. He must have a Football Rise Association Player of the Year or Premier League Player of the Year. He does not. He has Player of the Month awards, of course, but he has none of those season awards. Like I said before, I was certain this was a mistake. That maybe because he's an active player, that it doesn't show. But then I search up, let's say Messi, who is an active player, and look at this, all his accolades are here. Like let's go for someone else, like less profile, Giroud. Yeah, it's right here. So yeah, this website isn't not putting anything there because he's an active player. No, there's nothing here because there's nothing to talk about, and that kind of blew me away. Now with that, I think a lot of you are just screaming, of course Wayne Rooney must be better. You can't compare these two, their careers. Wayne Rooney's is a career of a legend. Harry Kane's is a career of a great striker who ultimately couldn't come clutch in the end. But firstly, look, I have this hate for the fixation upon the football fandom, especially on social media, with trophies. Trophies are of course significant and they mean something, 100%. But what needs to be understood that seemingly isn't understood is it's a team game. There are 22 full-grown men or women on the pitch, all being coached by a staff of 20, 25, 30, whoever. I don't know how big the staff is, but if you count the lunch ladies and that shit, it's way higher. So, and also there's the factor of luck. So it's hard to look past that. We also need to factor in, okay, yes, a lot is taken to win, and it's not just one man, but maybe Rooney's team was just as good as Kane's and Kane's couldn't produce. No, that's wrong. That's wrong at club level. We'll get to international later, by the way, but club level, that's wrong. Rooney, as we all know, was a part of that dominant Man United side that dominated the league for years. All right, and it was always a contender for the Champions League. All right, and this is essentially close to prime Alex Ferguson, Manchester United. Now, Harry Kane has had nothing of the sort. He has not a single one of his teams were good enough to win any Premiership. Now, of course, I will say an FA Cup, a Carabao, or EFL, whatever they called it back then. Yeah, maybe something there, but still, it takes a team, and it takes a coaching staff to take it seriously too. Like recently, Conte put out his second team for against Sheffield United in the FA Cup. That's not Kane's fault. It's Conte's fault. It's the team's fault. So I think people need to recognize that and factor that in. Now let's move on to international and then I'll give my opinion. Let's move on to international. So international, it's kind of crazy. Harry Kane kind of takes the mick. He's better in, I believe, everything. He had games, essentially the same amount of games. Just one more goals, more assists, more non-penalty goals, by the way. So that's something. Better goals to game average, better assist to game average. I guess the whole assists part, I think this kind of speaks more to the fact that when he does play for England, Southgate and Hodgson and all the other managers he had in the past did allow him to come deep and have a creative outlet on a creative effect onto the pitch. But I still don't think that's where his strengths lie. It's something, but I think they should focus on other things more. But yeah, like internationally, Kane kind of has Rooney flawed. He does, but then of course let's talk about the teams they played for. Now look, I would say the teams Rooney played for were better than the England team that Kane played for. But that's not the question. The question is, that's one half of the question. The other half is, who's the competition? Because you could have a side, like say, look, for example, Argentina just won the World Cup. I would say, honestly, this is my truth, that Argentina team is worse than the Argentina team in 2014 where they lost. Because it's about the competition is different now. Times have changed. Therefore, maybe you need to play at A+ back then to win, but now you maybe already need a B that can get you over the hump. If you get what I mean. Different eras, different periods, and I would say Kane's competition is far lesser now than Rooney's was. It's open, and if you look at the past 3 international tournaments, England were somewhat favourites. Not favourites, sorry, one of the favourites. I know for a fact coming into this World Cup, it was Brazil and France, and outside those two, people were looking at Argentina, England, Portugal. Argentina was only because it was. Argentina and Portugal were only looked at because it was Messi and Ronaldo's last World Cup, so it's like, let's just add a bit of romance. But yeah, like England were just outside those two, and in the Euros, I would say they were the favourites. In my opinion, they were the favourites. I mean, apart from France, of course, and then they got into the final, and they failed. And that, I guess, you can't hold over Harry Kane because he played terribly. But it's further than Wayne Rooney's ever gotten. So international-wise, he does dwarf Rooney. But the best way to decide who's better is to just simply, this has always been the best way, and it's to use the eye test. It's to watch the game of football and come up with your own opinions. You know, if we use statistics will tell us that Bruno Fernandes is better than Zinedine Zidane. If you look it up, it's true. He's better than Iniesta. Ozil's a better playmaker than Messi, who actually no, it doesn't. No, that's wait. No, just forget what I just said. Let's just stick to. It tells us that. It will tell us that Wayne Rooney is better than Iniesta. It will tell us that Giroud is better than Henry for France, because Giroud just recently eclipsed Henry for France. He's got more goals in him. Statistics don't tell the full story. It's something to look at. It is something to take in and to acknowledge. Same with trophies. You have to acknowledge, but the best way for me has always been you watch the game of football and you make your conclusion there. My conclusion is that I do believe Wayne Rooney is the better player. I think it's very close. And Harry Kane, I believe, is 29 years old. Soon going on to 30. He's not done. He's in his prime. That trophy he wants so badly, surely. Will he get it? If he stays, I don't think he will. If he moves, it's very much in the cards. A move to United, I think, would be perfect. But as of right now, watching the game of football, I think Rooney is far more versatile than Kane. Far more useful. I think coaches would rather have Wayne Rooney than Harry Kane. He's a trooper. He's a leader. His versatility is fantastic. He is as lethal in front of goal as he is creative in the middle, and he does excite me more. If I have a team, I want him. Sorry about that noise, by the way. If I'm starting a team, I can choose between one of those two. I'm taking Wayne Rooney. Now, once again, I do want to clarify it is close, and I can definitely understand why you would go for Kane, because there are aspects that he has that Wayne Rooney doesn't. I get that, but just off the eye test and watching these two throughout my life, I will take Wayne Rooney. That's my opinion, and let me know what you guys think down below. Rooney or Kane, it's close. But yeah, it's a great discussion, and leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and please get involved down below, and of course, take care of yourself. Cheers.